live now. So I'm just gonna go
Yes.
ahead and just confirm that we are actually live. It's just hope it works fine.
Okay. I think I can see the both of us. I think we're fine.
You can see us both on live.
Yeah, fine.
See, I knew this all time that I could see you from this side. I didn't know what the problem was. Like, well, this is a good
Yeah,
thing. So
we have a Jimo champion here. Yeah,
yeah,
I think we are fine.
okay, we're fine. Let's get started. First of all, let's first of all apologize. Good evening, everybody. Let's first apologize to everyone for we are not late. We are African timing, okay? This is Africa. It's a shame, but yeah, at least we're here. So we welcome everybody to the platform. Thank you so much for joining. Please go ahead and please go ahead and share the videos. Invite people to come and watch. We're going to take you on a ride, on a boat, on a cruise into the land of Say No to Bride Price. So thank you so much for joining. I mean, we need to give a big shout out to Sister Victoria and for joining us today to for joining us today to help us to do a review on the Say No to Bride Price. I mean, she's just a blessing. And anybody that knows Sister Victoria knows that she's just a passionate person. Like, she's passionate about everything that she does, and she's just fire. You know, she's fire about anything that has to do with women and women's mindsets. And she's been an inspiration to myself over time. And really, this is a big shout out to you, Sister Victoria. You've been a blessing. And she's actually inside the book as well. She's one of those people that reviewed and wrote a recommendation in the book. So there's a page where it's just dedicated to Sister Victoria's all comments. So please go ahead and order the book, and please remember that as you buy this book, the sales, the proceeds of the book are going towards a good cause. It's not coming to my pocket. It's going to be going towards funding the new project called the Treasure Project that we've just started off. So please do buy them. Please buy them for people. Give them to people that you know, and sit tight. So Victoria, I'll just let you greet the people.
Yeah, I'm so very honored to be here. Thanks to Sis Elizabeth. So we can have this kind of topic and talk about it. Like, I'm really so happy that she has given me her platform, to come express this issue and talk about it. Wow, say no to bride price. Well, I think it's Elizabeth. We have to be thanking you here
Yeah.
because how did you think of it? Because you just came up with something that no one was thinking about, and when you think about it, it's actually a huge problem that needed to be addressed. And people were not seeing it as a problem, but you just came up with that revolutionary kind of idea. So I really want to appreciate you, my sister, because even myself, the first time I heard that, no, I didn't hear. I read a single post you made, like say those to buy price. Of course, I came as passionate as I could be. I came, I was on you, like, I mean, what are you saying? How can you say that? Because I've not heard of that. I've not heard anyone say such a thing. And then, because of this reverse psychology, what we actually made to believe was that bride price was what actually portrays a woman's work. But thanks to you, we were just exposed to see that it is actually doing the opposite and simply making the woman worthless at the end of the day. So I really want to thank you for coming up with that idea.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful.
Thank you so much. Like, it's the idea of saying no to bride price, it's not something that, I just woke up one morning and I was like, oh, I hate bride price. In our journey of life, as individuals, we've grown, I must say a lot. I've grown a lot. Obviously, even last year to this year, I'm not the same person as I was,
Yeah.
last year and this year, and just going over time. And for me, I grew up in Africa. Now, people tell you that the bride price is what defines. So men will even tell you. I recently spoke to a guy actually, one of someone that I know, and he told me the reason he values his wife, and he says the reason I respect her so much is because I paid bride price on her. And just hearing that alone gave me a lot of fear, and it just really made me so angry in my spirit, because I'm like, how can you say such a statement that it is what you paid on your wife that makes you value her? It is the price, is the bride price that you pay to our parents that makes you understand what she is worth. And he said it with so much pride, like he was so happy to have said it. And that is the way people are. And obviously, like, over time, reading and just studying life and listening to people, I was able to understand the significance of bride price in the role of abuse in abusive marriages. So yes, I'm grateful that I've been able to write this, and I thank you for Sister Victoria. You guys don't understand how important Sister Victoria is in this book journey. She was there even with to the designing of the cover of the book. So she was there all the way. She came up with so many concepts, and she seriously is just a blessing, and I really just give you so much. I just throw so much accolades to you. You deserve the accolades. So thank you so much, Victoria. You're just a blessing.
Greater accolades, because I really admire you, and I can say for a fact that you are an inspiration to me. So you coming up with this kind of concept, there was just no way I could not value what you have to offer. There's just no way I could not take the passion. In fact, I was just very happy. I was very happy when you told me to come read the book and do for recommendation. I was really honored because I was like, oh my God, I've been waiting for this book to come out. Because like what your colleague said, when you think about it, there's really nothing strange about what you said, because that is what the society have put in us. That is what the culture is about. So they place a price on a human being and tell you that that is worth that human being is worth. I remember growing up, my mom used to even say something that is supposed to make us feel like we are special. She will always be like, because you're an Igbo girl, and from Imo State in particular, Imo State, the bride price is usually very expensive. So since the bride price is expensive, that means that the man will value you more because he has to pay more. Just like people value things that are expensive. So if your bride price, as an you even call it like ofowere, like this expensive soup that is like that is peculiar to
It's
Imo.
very, very. It's no different of, yeah,
Yeah,
ingredients.
yes, we got different stuff in it, and that makes it expensive. So you see someone from Owerri who will tell you that I'm an Ofo Owerri, so I'm going. So it's something that the girls pride themselves about, that their bride price is expensive. So it will look like only the rich guys can come for us.
Can you imagine that?
I'm really laughing because I can't even believe that there was a time I was so
And you
ignorant.
were also looking forward to it. Wow. You probably talked about it as well. Like, I'm not cheap, oh. Like, you're coming to get me, fam. Like, you better realize.
Yes, and
Yeah.
then why that man would do that is because if you as a man you not get to marry from such state, another state is like Akwa Ibom, and so because people know how much how long the bride price list is, so when they see a man that marries from that particular state, they will respect you that, oh,
You
you
know,
are
be small guy, oh.
So that's how the man would,
Yeah.
and I really don't blame him. When you think about it, it could be that he was just trying to present an argument. One thing I noticed about men is that their ego is so large and they never want to win an argument with a lady. They never want a lady to win an
You
argument.
win
So
an
maybe
argument with them because it will
he was
hurt
just
their pride. Yeah.
trying to make you feel silly for writing the book. So he's now telling you that it's the bride price that makes him to appreciate his wife. But I can tell you for a fact that that is not true. That is not true because many times we purchase something very expensive, but over time it loses its value.
It loses its value, and that is the one of the biggest dangers of bride price, actually, that you've just highlighted there. Because first of all, if you're saying that you value for taking that guy into, he's probably watching, right? I don't know. Anyway, taking that guy for example, and just saying that statement that, okay, I paid bride price to so because I paid bride price to my wife's family members, I respect her. That is, in itself, is like saying, okay, I value this book because of how much it's worth. I
It's what
value this phone because of how much it's worth. I value, anything that I have around me. I value this clothes because of what it's worth. You place value based on how much financial, what a financial value that is attached to that thing. And that is how it is with women in marriages as well, like that their husband values them based on the worth of how much they paid for them. Those people who say such statements anyway, it's very terrible, because one day, that what if it loses its value? What if that thing loses its value? Everything loses its value after a while. And you have to understand that there's no financial wealth that we can actually attach to an human being. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't add up. Because we're actually insulting, and we're not placing any value on anybody by adding money to them, by putting, okay, like for example, I was saying this scenario that I was talking about, I was actually presenting it to one of my friends who is from, where is it from? I think it's from Turkey or something. I was presenting it to him and, talking to him about how, was asking me about, oh, it's from Yemen, sorry. He was asking me about, Nigeria, and this whole bride price. I saw a book that I wrote on bride price. Like, is it a big deal and stuff? And it was like that. So like, try and explain it to me. So I explained it to him that. So what will happen is somebody would get married, and the husband will take quite a few goods, and they will give to the family of the girl. And then he was like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, so this goods, how does it come about?" So I was telling him that they will write a list and you buy those things, and he's like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah." And he thought I was joking, and he was like, "No, that this is unacceptable. That isn't that slave trade." That was what he said. The first thing he said is like, "Isn't that slave trade?" And I was like, to be honest, that is the way that we should view it. That is the first expression that any human being with a sound mind should have towards bride prices. That you should be able to say, "Wait a minute. So you're telling me that you give a certain gift to the owner of the girl, and then you take her and marry her." That is definition. That is slave trade. Back in the day, when a slave is being purchased from its owner, what they do is obviously the people that are buying, they're trading. So obviously you have to pay the slave owner that, okay, thank you for looking after the slave for so long. The slave now belongs to me. Now, the slave is not allowed to go back to his previous owner. The slave is not allowed to leave his owner. And if the slave, whoever wants to leave, the slave has to return, obviously. But the slave is not even allowed to leave anyway. The slave now belongs. So the slave now, they then say the slave has gone to his new owner's home. What is the difference between that and bride price? You see, on the wedding days, they say things like, you are going to your husband's house. They say to Yoruba, you're not going to your husband's house. Oh, loli oko, you're not going to a man's house, you're going to your own home. And that is when people say, when I was getting married, people used to say statement like, "Oh, you want a loli oko." I said to them that, please don't ever say such statements to me, because I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that's actually very insultive of me. I am not going to a man's house. I'm not going to a person's house. I am a individual. I am going to my own home. I am going to build. So when you want to say to me and my husband, tell us that, oh, so both of you are starting up a life together. You're starting up a family together. You're building. You're one in Christ. You're one together. You're rosy. Say positive things. And that is what, because when you start segregating us and start telling me I'm less and you're higher, you have already disrupted our marriage. There's already third party influence in that marriage. When you start collecting things on my head, I'm already allowed, you're already telling the new owners to treat me however way they wish, because they paid a certain price to purchase me. If I take my phone and smash it on the floor, it's my right, because I paid my money for it. I know the value of it. Do you
Oh
understand
my,
the story?
yeah, there's even another part you missed out. Do you know that, and do you understand that these men and these in-laws that are coming to pay for the woman or
Yeah.
pay for the bride price, do you know that they are allowed to bargain?
Yes. Just like you buy meat in the market. Just
So
like you're purchasing meat.
that is the most stupid part of the matter. The most stupid part of the matter is that they present, just like, okay, for example, take a look at this dress.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah.
So because I'm here to build a structure on my pricing and so I'm still building a structure around it. But because I'm here to build a structure,
Yeah.
so right now my prices are not fixed.
Okay.
you know, and then knowing the way Nigerians can be, except for like those people that I think, because right now my market is still like family members and friends and whatever. So, I just give them like, this is the cost of the dress and this is what I'm expecting from you. But for the regular Nigerian, that's like the regular outsider, if this dress is worth 20,000, I have to tell them 50,000. So that they can calm down. Because if you tell them 20,000 naira, they are going to slash the price and it will come down to 5,000. And of course, 5,000 cannot make this kind of dress. So that is why in Nigeria, people inflate prices a lot. Because there's this thing that people are not just able to understand that there can be a price on something, and this is the way when someone is telling you this is the price, that is what is worth. People just have
Yeah.
the natural.
Yeah.
So when you now present a long list,
Yeah.
they'll come and bag it. you know, because it happened my own experience getting married. Like I remember I messaged you. It was that period that my eyes really opened up to what you were saying. At some point I was arguing with you and argumentative, but later I was like, "Ah, my mind is open anyhow. Okay, that's what she has discovered. Okay, it's fine, but on my own, I feel like, well, I still am not having any issues with bride price. But because so that's another thing is sometimes there's something people don't really understand when it comes to passing down values and information to people. You don't force it.
Hmm.
You don't force it.
You can't
You
force
can
it
just
because you can only put it out there.
making people to imbibe values. You don't force it. You can just plant a seed,
Yeah.
and just put it out there that this is the information that I have. This is the new knowledge that I have. Because somebody has read your posts, because somebody has watched your videos, they may not understand. So it could take them years. Some it could take them 10 years. It could take them a month, 2 weeks. Maybe it could be, the way it works for a woman is, the way our memories work. It can just come like a flash. You could be having your back, and you'll be like, oh my god, this person may be right. That it just comes like a light bulb moment for you. So how it came for me was, in as much as I had stopped arguing with you, and we somehow we let it go and everyone was still friends. So it was when my husband Keyi was going to go and start paying bride price, you know, and
You saw at least 3 pages.
so embarrassing. I'm trying to explain to you what happened in my own case. So in my own case, after I announced the intention that I was going to marry, because the way it is for me is that my mom is not based in Lagos. but my dad is here with me in Lagos. So I I went to him like, okay, this is it. The man has come, so both of us went and got that. So what was the next thing that happened? He now said, okay, that's after everything. So he was not like, and then there's something I didn't want. I didn't want a wedding, like a traditional wedding, because of I was thinking that spending so much money having all those parties was useless. So I just wanted us to just have a family thing and my wife, whatever. But I now discovered that, okay, what are the I now started to ask question that, okay, what can make um Victoria and Sheyi now to become man and wife without a wedding? So the answer my dad said was that, okay, you have to go and pay your bride price. Okay, bride price. Of course, I know that they pay bride price. So what that happened was that, this bride price now had to come from the village. Meanwhile, prior to that time, I had only been to my village once. In fact,
Wow.
we are not the traveling people. My daddy used to take us to travel and visit those people. I had only been to the village, to my paternal village once. I didn't know anybody. So what happened? My mom was able to send the bride price, the list and the requirements on email. So I was reading the email, I was seeing those things. I was like, okay. The funny thing about this thing is that I would not have had issues with it if that seed, you had not planted that seed. So that's that thing I'm talking. I wouldn't have had any issue at all if you had not planted that seed. Sometimes you can just put up a post, you can just start with your movement. In as much as people are attacking and stooning you are planting seeds. That's one thing I've learned. And one way or the other, you're touching life and you're changing people's mindset. So I read the list. I was like, oh my God, could my sister Elizabeth, could she be right with this video she's been making? Because I didn't have any logical explanation as to why I could see all those things written. Ego, diaku, a lot of things, cow. Okay, they write cow. My own mind, but I could see the goat leg, cow leg, those things. So the first question I asked my mom was that, those cow leg, is it the party food? I asked her because I don't want to have a party. So if I don't, so what I'm saying in essence is that it was planting seeds in my heart. I now started to question those things. So my mom now thought that why I was arguing with her is because it's expensive, but that's not the case. So she now told me that, okay, that it can be bargained. Can you imagine? She now told me that, okay, the bride price list can be bargained. So it was from that bargain. It was from that bargain that in my heart I now said no to bride price, because I was like, oh, so just like this dress is this amount, and I've made it this way so that somebody can bargain a reasonable price until I set a structure. So on me now, you're giving me a long list of things and money to pay, because you're expecting some man to come with some group of people to come and bargain. So it was this bargaining process that I couldn't take, because it could have even been better if, from the beginning they just, wrote something reasonable on the guy. Maybe I wouldn't have thought about it. But it was the bargaining process that did something to my psychology. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe what was happening. Do you know what eventually happened? Because the in-laws were required, it was required of them to travel from Lagos and their own village down to my village to go and do the bargaining. But since I'm going to tell you this and in public, I went myself to go and bargain. I didn't allow any in-law, just me and the man. We went to the village and I bargained by myself. And it was so frustrating for me. I didn't know what was happening to me. They were looking at me so strange. Like, is she okay? How can you be bargaining your own bread? My mom was so
Yeah.
embarrassed, angry, even down. She was angry with me. Everybody could not believe what I was doing because it was like a taboo. Because it meant that a woman was not even supposed to be there. A woman, you're not supposed to be there
You're not supposed to be
when that.
there. Yeah, it's just the family.
But I went for my. In fact, when people, some of my cousins, when they heard about my wedding, they couldn't understand what was happening. I remember my godmother. My godmother, she's very close to my family. She's even a midwife. She was the one that brought me out of my mommy's stomach. So because the way it happened so fast. Because all of a sudden, I took the husband to her house, and I was like, okay, everything is set. So I went with like inviting her to come for the little ceremony that we were going to have. You know what she said? That wait, like she doesn't understand. Am I saying that something has happened, that how come she's not aware? Because this is supposed to be a big thing. But I went, just me and him, no in-law. We went and we arguing with my mom and some people that this
Wow.
he was so stupid. And I know that I if I know what I know now, and if I had the kind of boldness I have now, I'm not going. In fact, the
And
one
that
that
would
been.
have happened.
But I had to go and finish bargaining, after the whole process and after the wedding. So there was an arrangement that I later had with my husband, which I don't want to talk about in public.
Yeah.
You know, the arrangement I had with the guy, so I don't want to talk about it in public. But which I shared with you. But in the end, when you think about it, how can how can people that I don't know, so these are the things I was asking myself, people that I don't know, they came up with a list, and in that list, there is something for the youth of the village that I don't know. There is something for the elders.
Of
There's
the
something for the.
village that you don't know, and the uncles are.
It's so
Yeah,
stupid, but people are
it's
not
very, very.
thinking. It
It
is.
really is. Call a spade a spade. It's just it's a sale. That it is. That's what it is. It's just sale. It's an exchange. It's it's just an exchange or for the woman. We don't have to even sugarcoat it, because the day I realized how bad bride price was, like literally, I was, your eyes becomes open, and then every wedding starts irritating you, and you don't even want to go to weddings anymore. They're like, there's a wedding happening here, and you go to that wedding and you almost start crying. And it's because of every ritual, everything that happens at the wedding is centered around the bride price. The way the woman
Yes.
is treated. This book basically summarizes everything. Like, the way the woman is treated, the way the woman they behave, everything the woman is expected to do and become. The whole idea of wife material. Like in this book, I talked about it, that it is built around one thing: bride price. Wife,
Yeah.
what is wife? What is even the meaning of wife material?
I
That
just want to make this.
exactly. That's Can you see
So
that? What
yeah.
material? What is even material? Wife material.
I would say, oh my God, this material is perfect for a wedding dress. Oh my God, this material is perfect for a skirt and blouse. So you will look at a human and you will say that, oh, this woman is perfect to be a wife. But what's annoying about that mindset is that you're not even looking at perfect, that okay, this is someone that I want to really, I think I can partner with to be my wife. I think we can work together purposefully. I think her purpose is in line with mine, or even if they are not in line, I think we can work together and work something out. When a man is looking at you as a wife material, I had that video with Pastor Sunday, that's on that topic, because it was actually a big thing. They are seeing the wife material as, oh, she can cook, she can clean, you know, she's beautiful, she's not wayward, so because she can do these things, and then she's submissive. When they say submissive, they are looking at a one woman, that somewhere that don't have any form of self-respect and self-esteem for herself. So if you're a lady and your self-esteem is zero, you are the perfect
I
you are
wife
the
material. You are
material.
perfect. Seriously, that's it. You're
Zero
just a
self-esteem.
wife material.
Do you know, I had a man. I heard a man telling a woman once, these people also skip traditional wedding. Do you know what the man said to the woman?
What did he
That
say?
one thing that they miss about their skipping that traditional wedding is that he didn't get to experience the woman bringing the palm wine and kneeling down to serve it.
I'm kneeling down to serve him in front of every it's one of those vomit experience.
Yes,
I don't know.
actually,
Literally, like there's a lot of things. Okay, let's even stay off bride price for a second. Let's stay off bride price. There's a lot of things in Africa, in Nigeria, that basically undermines the woman and dehumanizes and devalues and destroys the worth of a woman. And that includes the way the woman is spoken to, the way the woman is regarded. Who is she? What is the value of a woman? Like yesterday, I watched a video, I don't know if you saw it, of
no.
President Buhari arriving at a conference in, I think it was in the northern part of Nigeria or something. And there was a group of like some sort of people, some sort of officials. They made like two rows to welcome the president, and the president he was shaking each and every one of them as he went along, and he got to the woman. There was a woman, I think she's one of the officials as well, and probably those are our colleagues, standing right next to her. But the president went past, he didn't shake her. They completely disregarded the woman, and then they made this thing, and it was all over Instagram about how in the Muslim community women are not shaked, and you don't shake women, you don't regard women. But this is a woman who has worked her entire life to earn herself
That position.
a place amongst her peers, who is just as educated, and who is just, let me show you the video. She was completely disregarded. Thank God I found the video. Let me show it to you very quickly. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, well,
Okay, see. Not only did he not just not even regard her as a human being, like he completely disregarded her as a human being, and went out like he was just sitting, standing there, kneeling down like a fool. Like, what the hell? Would he do that if it was out of Nigeria? Would he do that if it was outside of the country? Would he do that if it was, across the shores of Africa? Would he really do that? I think the question that we really need to begin to ask is, what are those things that destroys the value of a woman, that makes a woman be disrespected amongst her peers? This woman is a woman of honor. She's a woman that has worked hard to get to where she is. And to say that the reason why she doesn't even earn a handshake is because she does not carry a penis under her. Really?
yeah.
Really,
Oh,
we are using our genitalias, our stupid genitals to measure the worth of a person. The truth is, every human being, needs to begin to understand what is the value of a woman being, of a human being, whether you're a woman or you're a man. And that is the problem that we have in Nigeria. These things like bride price should not even be something that we should even talk. We should be ashamed to say we have a culture like this. Sis, have you been to weddings? As in, they will say the woman should first of all come out. You will first of all dance. The husband will carry her. What the hell? What if the guy has a back problem? What if he has a back problem? And and then they force him to carry his wife. They do all these rituals, and they're so unnecessary. They tell the woman to kneel down before Hadeori. What is the meaning of Hadeori? What is that? What is that? Like,
think of the head.
I'm sorry, but all these things, they just sound like little things, and they just sound like culture. And but to be honest, this art, there's a adage in Yoruba that says "kokoro tonje something." like whatever the kokoro, whatever the animal is, whatever the problem is that we have, that we can see. Okay, so we have a problem of rape, we have a problem of abuse in marriage and violence, and against women in marriage. We have a lot of men who have abandoned their children and ran away from their home. We have men who are just so busy just fornicating up and down, marrying 3 to 4, 5 wives, calling it, saying it's we have different things that are messed up in our culture. A lot of things that are messed up. And the thing we need to begin to think of is, what are the reasons? Why do these things exist? What are those little things that we need to begin to kick out of our cultures that would help us to reduce the percentages of women in abusive relationships? So not every woman will be abused because of marriage, because of bride price, but a lot of women will be abused because of bride price. And because there is one woman, read this. When people read this book, I don't want to say, okay, this is what is in here, this is what is in here. But when you read the book, you will come to understand that there are women that have been abused because of bride price, and there are stories. Sister Victoria, I don't know if you recollect, there's a part of the book that talks about a lady called I forgot her name now. She started the concept of Mifumi, which is a movement in Uganda to stop just to help women that are in abusive marriages. After she started the program in 1999, by 2000, she realized that 60% of the women that were admitted to their hospital were abused due to bride price.
Oh
Because
boy.
of bride price, they were abused. They were in abusive relationships due to bride price. Their husbands were abusing them because of that mindset that their husband had born himself into, which is the mindset that you now belong to me. Now, the culture of Zimbabwe says that if a woman wants to leave an abusive marriage, because basically when the husband pays the bride price, he has bought her. She belongs to him. If she ever wants to leave, she would need to return that bride price to earn her freedom. And that was what. So when Mifumi approached the Supreme Court in 2000 and said, we want you to abolish these laws against women leaving their marriages except they're able, because majority of them did not receive the bride price. Their husband received it. And these women are financially dependent on their husbands. Do you know what the court did? The court threw the case out. They're like, what rubbish? This is bride price we're talking about. 15 years after fighting against bride price, they eventually got their freedom. Zimbabwe. A lot of women packed their bags, carried their children. Can you imagine being in an abusive marriage and a man that has turned you into a punching bag because of the mentality that you belong to him? Some people haven't argue. They say, but this bride price are nothing less than 100 naira. But it's not about the money, though. You have to remember that there are perishable goods that are brought alongside the funds. There are things like yams, there are things like animals, there are things like goats, there are various different things. And aside from that, they even pay. Some people did not even pay anything, but they will still abuse their wives. Sorry, sis, you wanted to say something. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I said I like the word perishable.
Yes.
Like,
Ah,
so if you for you bought perishables in exchange of, so I mean that means he's just nothing. He's just, oh my god. He's okay.
absolutely.
You were saying something about that video you showed. It's angered you. But let me tell you another one that will anger you even more. It was brought this to my attention then. There was a post that went viral. People were like, a governor's wife somewhere or something. I don't know, governor's wife or something. So this woman, she did something really, really huge. I don't know, I think in the health sector or something, and she was recognized worldwide. I've forgotten what, it was a very big thing that she did. So people were like, it was being acknowledged that, oh wow, this woman has done this. Hmm? Okay, just like I would say, Elizabeth, for example. Oh, Elizabeth, I know she's gotten recognition from the United Nations, for this, or she has won the Nobel Peace Prize or something. So a woman achieved something really huge that was worth celebrating, and every blog, social media, they were telling us about. But do you know how the woman was introduced?
I was introduced.
The wife of the governor of Osun State, or something like. So I don't know. It's not funny, but I'm telling you that her name was not being used
Our
on the
name was
publication.
not mentioned. Her
Her
name,
name
the
was
wife
simply
of the governor of Ekiti State did so and
so,
so and so and got this petty. Yeah, that is it.
so she,
That is it.
as somebody's wife. So meaning that she does not have an identity of her own
Identity.
anymore.
She
No,
doesn't.
because she's married and somebody had probably paid her bride price and she had knelt down and she must have done all those rituals. So she was now being introduced. Can you imagine like Chimamanda Adichie now? Do you know who her husband is? We don't know her
We don't even
husband.
know what husband. I've
She,
never lost a husband.
her identity was solid. You know, she preserved her identity.
Yeah.
I've been reading Chimamanda's book since I was in primary, but Chimamanda preserved her identity so much. You can't try it. You know, what I'm trying to say is that women, to a reasonable extent, are the cause. They are their own prison wardens because
Yeah.
they themselves don't know what they are worth. So the way Chimamanda is now, so will somebody now come and say the wife of one thing else? You can't, you know.
The wife of can you imagine Chimamanda being referred to as the wife of, like, you know, it's just an insult. You know what I mean? Like, you could be like, excuse me, come here. This thing actually we're talking about, I'm gonna actually share a very quick scenario. When me and my husband,
In
before we
fact,
got married, my
come
parents
on,
were the we
they'll
told
be, they'll be calling the man
yeah.
Chimamanda's husband.
Ah, sis, let me share a quick scenario with you. When I think our camera is freezing, I want your camera to be a bit stabilized. Okay, so before me and my husband got married, we told some people to design the wedding invitation for us. And then, you know, they asked for a few details. They asked what was my father's name. They asked what was Dr. Success's father's name, and they asked a few questions. And, you know, so came the invitation card and everything. And then the top of it that I saw the family of Mr. Elisha. They put my father's full name, even his middle name.
Wow.
Mr. and Mrs. Elisha, this, and Mr. and Mrs. Kinikon Ruben. Me, I was just like this, like, excuse me, come here, come here, come here. So I was like, where are the mothers' names in this invitation? They're like, I'm like, so wait a minute. So our mothers don't have identities? So so you have effrontery to write his first name, his middle name, and his last name, and you don't even have space to put my mother's my own, just one name from my name, not even a middle name. Oh. And then I was like, I was so shocked. Like, this thing was like, okay, you know, this is our culture. This is the way it is done. I'm like, well, that is your culture. That is not my culture. So people will take this culture back and you go and create the culture that I want because it is our wedding, not your wedding. And, you know, they have to and then redesign it and put the mother's names. And, you know, initially, like, you know, people think, okay, when you come up with all this concept because you're a troublemaker, or it's because you want to. No, it is because you have accepted the wrong things for far too long. We have been accepting everything that is thrown us out. You just said something now. You said women, we are the solution to the problems that exist today. True. How many women actually understand that they have lost their worth? You see women who say things like, oh, come and meet me. I am, you know, I'm available, or I'm just, you know, women, they sell themselves short, and you're thinking you're an individual. You are the reason why women have continued to be disrespected as an individual everywhere that they go, because we keep allowing it to happen. We're an allower, as my friend always says. Yes, but she will say, we women, we are allowers. That's what we do. We allow things to keep happening to us. We keep accepting everything that's happening to us. And then we complain about things, how we are treated. And the truth is, men will never know our worth until we begin to actually understand our own worth ourselves. And we need to show it to, and when we do that, they will treat us the way that we want to be treated. And that is just the truth. And you carry yourself the way that you want to be treated. You treat yourself with respect. You understand that you are a respectful person. You are not defined. When people say things like, oh, you're going to you're able to correct people in love, and you say to them, look, I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just trying to be, I need to let you understand that I know my worth. And just because culture has disrespected us for so long, it doesn't mean I have to accept that culture. It means I need to begin to think about the culture, because I'm going to have, family, children that will come, great grandchildren that will come and carry on this legacy. And even if they're not my own directly, they will come from other people, and they will come into this culture. They don't need to exist, and they don't need to follow through with this culture that infringes on our right to be human. And we need to understand that it is wrong. If something is wrong in a culture, we must kick it out. I'm not saying, like I said on when I did the show with Mr. Innocent, I'm not saying that everything about Nigerian culture is bad. I'm not saying everything about our cultures are wrong. The culture, that part of our culture that you're just so proud of, and you're just like, man, that's just beautiful. But there are parts of our cultures that you are disgusted about. Like every time I go to a wedding and I have to see a woman kneel down before her husband, that is wrong. If people don't understand that is wrong, that is wrong. You are creating division between them.
We can say it can happen in traditional weddings, but it has also been brought somehow into even white weddings.
Wow.
Do you know that?
In the church.
Yeah. The reception. Well, not in the church, but
in the reception part, the feeding of the cake. You're right.
What's the cake? And the girl will kneel down. And the boy will.
Terrible. Terrible.
Kneel down. There was the MC. In fact, it's so stupid when you think about it. The MC will and say, okay, let's see how you treat your husband with respect and honor.
And I addressed that in the book as well. That, respect, just because I did face value respect and knelt down before a man doesn't mean I will do that when I get to the home. That is not, you can do like things for high service. Anybody can do anything for anyone to see. But the truth is, how do you live beyond that wedding day? What happens in the actual marriage? How do we value ourselves? The best bride price anybody can collect is to when you hear that for example, if you're a family member and you hear that, oh, Sade is getting married, your place should not be, where is my own tuba of yam? Your own place should be, sit down. So Sade's getting married. Who's she getting married to? Oh, so this guy called Tom. Okay, who's Tom? Let's get to know Tom as a person. These family members that want to come and collect bride price, some of them don't even know who Tom is. They don't care about how Tom is going to treat Sade in the marriage. They don't care about how Sade will be treated by her in-laws. They don't know who the in-laws are. All they care about is their own selfish interest, our culture. But our culture is killing us. The first thing you should be thinking is, okay, I want to have a conversation with Sade and Tom. I want both of them to come to the house. I want to get to know Tom. I want to get to know what Tom is struggling with. I want to get to know what Tom's background was like. What was Tom's family members like? What is he like as a person, as an individual? What is his relationship with like Sade? Are they even ready for marriage? Are they individuals? Have they both a personality? Are they both understand why they're existing? Why do they want to get married? What is the purpose? Are they really right for each other? And as a family, we contribute, we put through some sort of a support system that Sade and Tom knows that they always have people to come and meet. All these people that will collect bride price, how many of them can Sade call when Sade is having problem in marriage and say, Uncle, I am having problem, and Tom and Uncle will be ready to talk to Tom. Majority of them are only ready to speak to Sade, and the only advice they have for Sade, respect your husband, oh. You can't come back here. Why would Sade come back? When you have collected and your stomach has belly full, when you have collected bride price, why would you tell Sade to come back? They will give you advice like, submit to your husband. I'm sorry, but there are marriage advice that goes beyond submit to your husband. And that is a massive cliche. I think we all know that by now, that doesn't even exist in our world anymore. We've moved far beyond submit to your husband. We are now on a level where we are now respecting one another in marriage. And that is what we should be teaching. And that is what we should make our culture. We make the right things our culture. We don't make a culture our culture because, okay, it's sacred. It's been there for far too long. It's the way. No. If it's been there for a period of time, it's time to adopt new ones that will carry on to the next one. And that is the problem that I have with us as Nigerians, is that we don't actually think of fumigating, getting rid of things that don't belong in a place. We remember those things, we talk about them, we'll teach them as history, but we don't have to keep living them as if, no, somebody is tying up. There's no contract that keeps us, that says that we have to have practiced bride price. And the thing I always say to people is that before you argue with me about bride price, please just read about it. And that's the thing that gives me joy. Go and read something. Do some research. Do your own personal study on bride price. Because I don't like, some people come and they're like, oh, Elizabeth, you always argue with people on Facebook. But the truth I always say to people is that I actually enjoy those banters, because for me, it's like people get upset and they think that you are upset. But sometimes I'm actually on my phone just laughing, and somebody is getting worked up and getting stressed and getting irritated and getting like, she's so rude. But the truth is that some of those things, I'm just putting it to you. I'm actually just putting it to you and saying that you need to actually go and study for yourself. Because at the end of the day, remember, Sister Victoria, I think you remember the first conversation that you and I had about bride price. It was like, dun, 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 it was like a punch. But then you went away, and then you had your own, and you know what? And the thing I like about it is the fact that it's just me simply just saying the truth to you. But then when the truth comes across to you as hurt, or comes across to you as rudeness, some people will go away and be like, she's just rude. But then when over time, people will come across and be like, wow, you know what she was actually saying was not an insult. It was just the truth, and a few people have actually said that to me as well. And, and this is one of the things I just want people to understand, is that we're all individuals. We all have different backgrounds. We all have different ways of interacting with people. And, I always urge everybody, before we get into this whole, talk, I don't even mind. Like my friend that was telling me about his wife and everything, me and this guy were constantly arguing. And then it's just so funny how, like, we argue all the time. But every time I'm always like trying to press it to him. I remember when DSA first started as well, he was the same person that was like complete. And then recently he said to me, he called me and said, this your DSA is making sense. I'm like, Shebi, you said it was insulting pastors. Shebi, you said it wasn't. You wanted to destroy. But the truth is, sometimes don't even listen to DSA. Don't listen to anybody. You just do your own personal study, and then you will realize that nobody's against anybody. Nobody is how to do anybody. Everybody wishes everybody will come to the light of the truth, and everybody wishes everybody well. And that is that's the way we need to begin to look at life, is that I look at you in love, and I'll tell you the truth in love. And and like you said before, we can't force you on people. I can't, as much as I hate the culture of bride price, and do you know that some of my friends will still do it and say, because of family, because of friends, and they're still my friend, but for me, I look at them and I'm just thinking to myself that, I've only told you what I know for a fact, what I've read about, what I've studied about, what I've researched about, and what I've come to, understand as the truth. But everybody has to come to the knowledge of the truth in their own time. And that's just the beauty of life. Yeah, so
Yes.
like I say, I encourage everybody to read this book seriously, sincerely. Like, there's so much in it, and
Yes, your book is really revolutionary, because
it says,
it's something, what I want to tell you for a fact now is that I just want you to keep strong, because you're going to face attacks, because now there's something I always say, I used to be there, but
yeah,
of course, people grow over time. The day you die is the day you actually stop growing, the day
yeah,
you stop improving on yourself, educating yourself and changing. So the day you stop changing, that day you're dead. You're just waiting to be buried. So there's something I came to the conclusion that if you're really going to fight this battle, we have to go beyond posting on Facebook. Why am I saying this? We have to go beyond. Sorry, we have to go beyond posting on Facebook,
yeah.
because most of the time those audience that we are talking to, they already know what you're saying.
They're already enlightened.
When somebody thinks of Elizabeth Aina on Facebook, oh, Elizabeth Aina, right? You immediately just put your face and right together. So they already know this truth. So now we have to start thinking about how to get the message
How to
across
get
to
the
people.
message to the, yeah.
And most of the time, people that need these things are people around us, your neighbors. Because that's another thing I think I've noticed. People don't want to talk to the immediate people around them. They will just want to come on Facebook. There's nothing wrong with posting on Facebook, but in Facebook you get the likes, you get the comments. But can you really take the battle? Can you take on the battle?
Can you
Can
take
you
on?
your family members? Can you bring it down to your neighbors? Can you bring it down? Can you bring up the topic at the salon?
And that
Okay.
is a challenge to every. See, the truth is that a lot of people are speaking about. A lot of people are speaking about things that should change and things that should, become a certain way. For example, that is bride price. I would say I've been speaking about bride price for a while now, and talking about what should change. And like I said before, just a few seconds ago, I can't force it on anyone. I can do
Yeah.
like things like, for example, I can do even this bride price talk is actually a big problem on a world scale. Like in terms of it's an international crime, it's an international problem, and so therefore a lot of people want to do it, but it is not really something that the court can rule out. It is not a concept that the court can say we are getting rid of bride price. It's something that we need to get rid of individually in our own family, and over time it will fade out through campaigns and through things that will come up, and people that would say, okay, I'm against it, and the people that will speak up against bride price, and it is possible to stop the practice of bride price, but it needs to be an individual fight. So that means that if I start like with the Treasure Project, for example, the Treasure Project Foundation that I'm starting, that is to help women that have, or people that have come out of abusive relationships, abusive marriages. But then they need to come, is their own choice, is to help people that are outside of those sort of abusive homes. At least that Victoria has left us. But then again, it is now, I can't go into individual families and say, okay, stop the culture of bride price. I can only say the culture of bride price is bad. We need to tap into it, and we need to understand that this is wrong. A lot of people have been speaking out recently against, things, just women. I wouldn't say women empowerment, because I like to believe that women are already empowered. But trying to enlighten people. It's just like what I say about salvation. For example, I always say salvation is not that you need to be saved. You're already saved. It's that you need to understand that you are saved. Salvation is a thing that you need to understand it, because salvation is not something, you don't go to the church to get saved. You don't go to play. In fact, you don't need to be saved, because you're already saved through Christ. It's just like that. It's like understanding that salvation is this, and it's just you understanding that I am now saved to the right, just me understanding that I am saved through Christ. That is what salvation is. It's just your understanding of it. And that's how I am with bride prices, was that understanding that the culture is wrong, coming to the light that a culture, a practice is wrong, and trying to encourage the people within your own family members to go, and everybody needs to turn up and join the battle. Nobody's gonna do it for us. The problem is people want to constantly say, yeah, I want to see results, but what actions are you actually taking individually? So we're all responsible for whatever results that we want to see in the world. We're all responsible for whatever we want to see, whatever solution we want to see in the world. And I just hope that each and every one of us will, go and grab a copy of this book and read it. I mean, I encourage everyone, to read the book. And please remember that the funds raised are going towards a good cause. So I think that's going to be an encouragement to us that we should read it. We should pick up, a portion of it, and pick up the book, and and understand that as you pick up the book, it is going towards a good cause. I mean, we're not, like I said before, I'm not saying that everything in marriage is bad, or everything in our culture is bad, or that marriage isn't good, but that when we marry, and we're marrying into a culture that devalues us as a woman, you are already cut out for abuse. That marriage in itself, the practices on that wedding day, has already set you up for abuse for the rest of your life in marriage. And that's what women need to understand. true, and like I said before, there are other factors that would lead to abuse in marriages, and there are other things that would make it. Maybe the person has personal issues. It could be that he has anger issues. It could be that he has anger problems. It could be that the person struggles with his own personal life, in his own, person, in his own person. I think so Victoria is just coming on board again. I'm just gonna add her to the show. I'm trying to bring you on board, Victoria. Yeah, thank God she's back on. Victoria's back live. So yes, there are other factors, but bride price we must not dismiss is a big problem. You're welcome, Victoria. I think you are
Sorry,
live.
happened.
Yes, you are here. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so like I was saying, so you have actually stepped up, and you've put this thing out there for for the real battle that we have to face. You put it out there in a book, like anybody can pick up that your book and read. And since I can tell you for a fact that you'll be stoned, but the people that will get to appreciate you is not this generation.
Hopefully we'll be, but yeah, I understand what you mean.
Somebody, or when a woman or a man stands up for something really revolutionary and phenomenal, you know, um, they get all the stones and they are not appreciated. But then somehow the next generation are going to be the beneficiaries, and they will be grateful that I'm so happy that one I can't believe that you guys really did those things in your generation. Oh my god, I can't believe that you guys did those things and somebody actually stepped up. So that's how one man would have been paying for it. That's what the ladies of the next generation will be saying. They'll be very grateful to you know, for actually taking out this, even for just thinking out and coming up with a concept. Oh my god, sis, you may not even like you may not really know what you've done, but all I can say is that you will get appreciated, because you've done something really great. You've done something that's made you great. You've left your mark on the sands of time. Oh, there was one lady, she stepped up and she fought this culture, so that's just what I want to say. I really want to really appreciate you so much, for standing up and taking up this thing.
I
Because I
really
was
appreciate you as well for for the stance that
I,
you took in your marriage. I mean, at the end of the day, like I feel like when one woman is free, that is one woman less, from the rest of the problem in the world. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of things that women are still fighting. There's a lot of things that we are still constantly fighting in our world, and trying to get rid of patriarchy and everything that is going on in the world at the moment. And to say that one woman is set free is just a thing of joy. We're all like hoping that one day this world will begin to understand that what equality truly means, and what freedom for a woman really is, and what marriage really, the beauty of marriage. I think I shared with you once, when personally, when I said to my family that I'm not going to be taking bride price in my marriage, and one of my aunties came up and said, and families, they had like, we are going to have meeting. We had a meeting in one of my uncle's house, and when I was done explaining to the family why I'm not going to be, just I'm not going to be involving myself in, or my own life in the whole concept of bride price. When I was done talking, one of my aunties actually looked up and said to me that, do I realize that a lot of women in Nigeria are actually just enduring marriage, that a lot of women don't actually understand the definition of enjoying marriage. And when she said that to me, I was very, very touched by the statement, because I just felt to myself that this is because we need to, we've accepted it like this for so long. It's nice to go to a marriage conference where the topic of discussion is not focused around submission. and it is actually focused on the value of the person and the value of the other person. And but like it is each and every one of it is a duty, is now the duty of each of us that know the truth to begin to speak more. Never undermine the value of speaking. Like I've seen a lot of people say want to see action. I'm never one of those to force about action, because Martin Luther King only started with actions as well. He started with words as well. And that's the thing. People need to understand that speaking in itself, that's a solution. One woman will hear, the other one will hear, pass on the message. But that's what I said, buy the book and give it to me, because there's a portion of the book that actually talks about healing from a broken relationship as well. It helps, and it's life, and it's the truth. Women need to understand their value. A lot of women do not know their worth, and that is not, that is why there's so much pressure on men as well. And that is why, at the end of the day, when the woman begins to know her value, she will raise a boy, she will raise a child that will know his value and will understand the value of another woman and will treat another woman right. So this thing is a journey. It's not just one thing. It's not just one, okay, so now we're not doing bride price and that's it. No, it's beyond bride price. It's about giving a woman the value. It's about teaching a woman to know her worth. It's about teaching the boys and teaching the men in our communities to understand the value and to know the worth of a lady, to understand why I don't, for example, if Queen Elizabeth said something that you don't like, you will not just, you can't even near her. It's like, but on teaching people to understand the value of other people that are in their lives and that are involved in their lives. It's about teaching a boy to not to raise his hand on people and not to raise his hand on other people in in his life. I think Sister Victoria is having some technical glitch, but we understand. Completely understand. Sorry about that, Sister Victoria. And I'm very, very proud. I'm very, very grateful to everybody, and I'm thankful that Sister Victoria said that we might never finish. This generation might not get to experience, but I really truly hope that we will get to that. Women in our generation will get to enjoy that, because for me, if women in our generation don't get to, we must enjoy our marriage. We must enjoy our marriage because we know what is wrong, and we have the sound mind to put those things right and to set those things straight. And yeah, I truly encourage everybody to get the book. Like I said, this book in itself it's a journey. Sometimes I pick it up, sometimes I read it, sometimes I'm tearing up, sometimes I'm crying as I read it, because I understand that there's a lot in our culture that we are still stuck to, because of the fact that we say that it is our culture. And so therefore I've come to understand the danger in actually saying that word, it is our culture. Because the more we keep saying words like it is our culture, what we're doing is we are killing ourselves. We are not setting anything for the younger generations to come, to our next generations, so our children's children to come and meet. Well, the Bible says that a great person leaves inheritance for his children's children. Inheritance is not necessarily money. It is values. It is vision. It is having a ethical culture for them to come back to, a culture that they'll be proud to talk to their friends about and be like, do you know what we do in our weddings? In our weddings, we do this and we do this. And the woman doesn't have to feel less. She doesn't have to kneel down before her husband's family. She's not bullied, and she's not. And they'll talk about marriage, and marriage becomes a thing of beauty for women as well. But at the moment, the way marriage is done, marriage is just a place where a woman goes to, forget who she is, bears children, just carry on bearing children, and cook, be good to our in-laws, and that's it. But marriage is so much more than that. God talked about, when Jesus was asked about marriage, he said that it's about two becoming one flesh. That means you're going to mingle. You're going there to become one with somebody else. You're going there to build. You're going there to be, to transform your world. You're going there to transform a nation in marriage. You're not just going there to just settle down. That's why I like Miles Monroe's teachings of marriage. Miles Monroe, one of his teachings, talked about the fact that that people think, couples, for example, men especially, think that marriage is a place for me to go and settle down. You don't go to settle down in marriage. And that's the problem people have. People think that it's supposed to be rosy. This woman, you're giving me wahala. This man, you are stressing my life out. You want to settle. No. You're supposed to go there to become its work. Like I always say, like, it's not for children. I've not been married for that long, but I say to people that, it's not for kids, because it's a lot of growing. It's constantly putting in work. It's constantly putting in effort to, to be a blessing to one another. I don't know what the problem is, but Victoria is having some problems connected to us. She's trying to connect back, but I don't think she's able to join. I'm trying to stall so that she can come back and meet us, and so that she can join us. Yeah, so this book also talks about the story of, I talked about Apostle Paul. My views of Apostle Paul in the book, in the very last chapter, there's a part where we actually talked about some of Apostle Paul's teachings, and what my views are on Apostle Paul. And you know what? It might just shock you. It might not be what you're expecting to miss. A lot of people, I remember when my husband picked up the book and he said that the first thing they was expecting to see was like lots of emotions. I don't like this. It's not just one person coming and saying, I don't like this. Here's this. No, it contains a lot of, readings and a lot of problems. It highlights a lot of loopholes that we might not have figured out in the Bible, that are that are in some of the texts that we've read about Apostle Paul. And he actually talks about how Apostle Paul treated women. He talks about how God himself treated, how Jesus treated women as well. I think that those two parts of the book are my favorite. The part where I talked about how Apostle Paul treated women, and also his relationship with women and women in leadership, actually, and opening our eyes to the question: did Apostle Paul really say that women should not even preach in the church? Did he really say that? I mean, the answer is in the book for you as well. There's also a part of the book that I like, which is the part where how Jesus treated women and the role of women, that women play in the world. I've been reading that as well. Yeah, so so that's also something that we talked about as well. Sorry, I'm just trying to. Victoria is trying to connect back to us. I'm just trying to see if there's a way to bring her back on board. Yeah, there's really a lot for us to get in the book. I'm not trying to force you on us. Like I did say to some people, I did say to a lady specifically who, was like, okay, you just want me to buy your book, and I said to her that it's not about buying my book. In fact, don't even buy my book. Don't buy the book. Go and just do your own research on the topic of bride price. I mean, to be honest, I'll just encourage everyone, if you don't want to, spend funds on the book, if you don't want to waste your money and you don't feel it's worth it, then please don't. But please don't hold on to a culture because of the fact that because you think it is formed on Elizabeth's opinion, because it is not about Elizabeth's opinion at all. I'm not, but it is formed on just facts, a lot of information there for us to gather. Because if I was going to write a book about emotions, so Victoria, welcome back.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Still there.
I completely understand. We understand technical issues. It's only bound to happen. The last time me and Innocent tried to do a show, we went, our face saw. So we completely understand. Yeah, it's Facebook has changed a lot of its settings as well. So
Yeah, so I'm just so happy. I'm so happy, for people like you that.
Can I ask you a question, Sister Victoria? Like, what do you think of the whole concept? When you hear this, the woman is a weaker vessel. What is that like in Nigeria? Like when people say,
yes, the woman is the weaker vessel. when it comes to okay, now when it comes to treating the woman as a fragile creature, managing her emotions, helping her to, just like you pamper a baby, they don't see it that way. The woman is the weaker vessel that has to submit and follow leadership because it's as if she doesn't have common sense on her own. So a woman is a weaker vessel up here in the brain. So that's what they are
So
promoting
is
when they are
that
saying.
just in marriage, or is that like, for example, now if a woman wanted to become a leader, a president of Nigeria, is she still is that one of the things that will stand as an hindrance to her, that she's a weaker vessel?
Yes, yes. When it comes to, even taking up leadership positions, which a lot of women, I'm even grateful, for because of the people that actually fought for this thing. I don't know, when you think of I don't know, have you heard of Emily Pankhurst?
So
She's the lady that fought for the rights of women to vote.
what's her
You
name?
know, she's the leader of this suffragette thing that happened, and she was the one who fought for the rights, for women's right to vote, the woman's right to vote in
Okay,
the US.
yeah.
Yeah, so she was one that broke that culture, and women were able to vote because in the past they didn't see women as human enough to go vote. So people like that have actually stood for this thing. Even if at that time not a lot of people were on her side, but now we are grateful that we can vote. We the next generation now, and we are so happy that such
Yeah.
a thing happened. So a woman is still seen as a weaker vessel even here. And that's why even when the elections are coming up, and you can never see a woman coming up for those position in those top parties. I'm not talking of those. It's only in those baby parties that even the party members, they already know that she can't win. They know that their party will not win. So they just, okay, let's just have some fun. Let's just send her, to just go. But the real parties, the APC and PDP, they can never bring a woman forward, come and contest for those leadership positions. Because somewhere in our mind, the woman has not been accepted as a complete entity. I don't know. Some people even think that a woman has half of a brain. Some people think that men are more
They are
intelligent
more
than.
intelligent. I've heard that before. I've heard that so there was a debate that Mr. Innocent had on one of his platforms, and he was talking to a guy who says he's against feminists and what feminists stood for. You were there, we probably there, oh god. And the guy was like saying to Mr. Innocent that women have less IQ to men, that women's IQ are not, that's, oh god. And someone was like, how do you measure intelligence? To really, really honest, can you really measure intelligence? Can you really measure a person's intelligence? Because everyone, can you really say, okay, a fish, can you tell a fish to climb a tree? If you say to a monkey and a fish, you say, okay, you climb, and you say, okay, because you're a monkey, you climb the tree, you are more intelligent than the fish. Really? Do we really measure life like that? People need to understand we are all equal in our own uniqueness. Not equal in terms of, okay, I'm a fish. And I want to fly. I want to
Yeah.
people need to start thinking about the fact that he's saying that someone said to me once, and I think I mentioned in the book as well, that what is really the value of a woman, really, because there's a part where someone asks that, do Nigerian men treat women better than British men treat women better? Like something like that. There was a debate. Also, it's a story. Serena Williams said it. Serena Williams said that white men treat women better than black men. So,
Yeah.
and then I said in the book that it's not just white men who treat women. In fact, white men treat their cats better than black men treat some of their women. It's just the fact. Can you see the way we treat our animals? Can you even see the way we treat ourselves? Can you see we don't even treat ourselves like creatures? Women are just seen as the Eves. We are sinners. We brought sin to the world, and we're the weaker vessels, and all this stupid country, all these things that just holds us and stifles a woman's ability to say, look at me. I'm a bird. I can't swim. I can fly, but I'm great too. And people need to start understanding that we're all different. I listened to a guy called Carlton Pearson or something, and I actually shared a video about him yesterday. I said everyone should go and watch a movie called This Sunday or Come Sunday. And this man was someone that he was one of the leaders of one of the greatest churches in America at the time, and he lost all his members because he started preaching about how we are already saved and salvation and stuff, and his salvation ministry. And that movie was amazing. And one thing that he said, I was listening to one of his preachings outside of the movie, and then he was talking about how that we should be thankful for women, that women actually, we should be thankful to Adam because thankful to Eve, because Eve actually she's a scientist, because basically God said to her that, okay, huh? God said to Eve, okay, God said to them, if you eat the fruit, you will die. Animal came and said, if you eat the fruit, you get wisdom, you get this, and you open your eyes will be just like God's eyes. For her, she was like, okay, why don't I just experiment on that? Why we have been born to be afraid of death. A lot of us, okay, so to her, death meant nothing. She just wanted to experiment. And it was just very interesting. And he was saying that we need to be thankful to women. That's a whole different sort of ball game, but I just wanted to go there for a second. But yeah, that's it's just understanding that. Do Nigerians even understand the value of women? Victoria? Technical glitch.
Yes. And this is also because women don't understand themselves. Look at this Oyakidomi man. Look at that statement that he made, that women are the afterthought, that women are afterthought of God.
Oh God.
In mind when he was creating, and I just can't even, and the man, I don't know, when he said this kind of thing, I wonder how these women in the congregation, what would they be feeling like? What would they be feeling like?
Carry their bag and go to that same abuse center next Sunday.
Oh God, this is really emotional for me, I tell you. It's very, very emotional. Talking about this thing, talking about this woman thing is very, very emotional for me. And then you will hear people calling you bitter, calling you angry. You will see your fellow women putting you down, making you feel like you're nothing. Okay, so just yesterday, a colleague of mine posted something on WhatsApp. Do you know what she wrote? Should I read what she wrote?
What did she write?
Or she wrote that women, be careful, because those guys from America, those guys will be coming back to Nigeria, those guys in diaspora, they'll be coming back to Nigeria. And then shine your eyes, because they will promise you marriage and they will just use you for Christmas. I don't know. Do you know do you know
I
what
understand everything you just said.
And what he's saying now is that when a man says to a woman, I want to marry you, the woman sees it as a favor. That thing sounds like, oh, I'm dashing you 10 million, or I'm dashing you 50 million. So I want to marry you. So the woman begins to see herself, oh, because this guy has promised me marriage, I have to do everything he says, I have to make this calls, and I have to, so she's trying to say that make sure that whatever guy you're messing around with, you get your reward as marriage.
Wow. So marriage
is
the key.
Man does not have issues with the guy from diaspora. What she's saying is that there's something that they call American husband. My husband is in America. So there's something like so long as the guy is going to marry you, no problem. But make sure you turn your eyes for the ones that won't marry you. So women are sitting somewhere hoping that one guy will come and do them a favor. And since, to be sincere, I don't want to really go deep into this matter because I know that I'll be misunderstood. But if a woman begins to know her worth as a person, most women, not all, they will understand that what I'm about to say that will sound stupid, but they will understand that even marrying a man, you are doing that man a favor. Because when you check the things that you're bringing to the table, You bringing your common sense to the table, you're bringing your intuition, you're bringing your natural ability to keep the home,
Yeah.
abilities, you're bringing your womb to carry the baby and risk your life multiple times. You're actually spending the rest of your life raising those kids. So you're bringing all these things to the table, and one man is somewhere. People have been telling me that marrying you is doing you a favor. So
It's
when a
doing
man
you
says
a
that
favor.
to jump because you don't have sense, you don't know what you have. That you lose your shape inside that marriage, give birth to two children, and you all fat and your boobs are saggy and you have sweat all over your body, and then you start begging that man that please don't cheat on me,
Don't cheat on me.
manage me like this, like my the same man that told you. No, women they are, I don't know, somehow our culture, our religion has torn up the brain of women in Nigeria. They are suffering from identity crisis. They don't know
Yeah.
their state. They don't look
Yeah.
in the mirror to see what they are. So what you should be asking, and every woman should ask, that what exactly, I'll say that you're not married, but you should marry with the mindset of knowing who you are, that if one person begins to treat you less than you are, carry your things and walk out of that
And walk
place.
and go home.
You should have. Take your things and get out from any man that begins to see
I'll
you.
continue to mistreat you.
He's doing a favor by keeping you in his house.
Mm.
Or you think you're in his house. That his house was nothing until you came in and made it into a home. The way we raise our men, they cannot even make a home, they cannot even do anything for themselves. And then you come, you cook, you clean, you do all those things. And the least you will get from a man is appreciation. But the man will not bring you ego and oppression and telling you I
And
am
be
the head.
stressing you.
What is your head doing for me? Because even okay, back in the day, before the world wars, at least the roles were even divided. Okay, women know that we are the keepers, the men know that they are the ones bringing the money. But now the women have become hunters. The Second World War pushed women out into the world to go and start working. So they took on the roles of men. Oh, so we can actually do this. So now, when you really think about it, women actually bring more to the table in marriage. They sacrifice their whole life inside of marriage.
They do.
A
They do.
man has to prove himself to you. Because people don't understand this. When you go on a date with a guy, most girls, they go on a date to present themselves as I am marriageable. But it is the man that should actually prove to you that he's marriageable.
Woo.
Because like being a woman, you are bringing so much to the table. So that man has to tell before a man will leave that and propose to you. You have to ask that man, what do you have to give me? You can't offer me money because I can make my money.
I can make
What
money.
offer me emotional stability because
Mm.
I'm sufficient by myself. I'm happy with
Woo.
myself. You can't give me happiness and peace of mind. So that's the bride price. The bride price should be what is the
Woo.
price?
What is the
What
price you're willing to pay?
price? Okay, what do you have to offer me? For a lot of women will not even change their names and they don't. I don't know if they're talking about. What I'm saying is that what price? What are the men actually bringing to the table?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying in essence is that I'm not saying that marriage should stop, but these men must be something has to go back to their brain to
Mm.
actually make them to understand that a woman is even doing small favor.
Yeah.
The woman is the one marrying you because if she marries you, she's the one that will.
She's
You
multi.
cannot.
I like the what Miles Monroe said. She's a multiplier.
She's a multi-purpose.
She
That's the word. She's
multiply. She's not a plus addition. No, no, multiply.
she's a multiplier. So when you look about it, when you see a man that is successful, check, you will see that there is a woman behind that man.
Ask
Like,
that Victoria.
have not been
It's
taught
true.
to ask
Women
for
are
multiply.
everything. We just know the one.
So they are, which man would I multiply? So now you're not using those gifts on yourself. You're not using your brain on yourself. You're looking for a man to go and multiply.
Yeah.
But there problem with that.
When you
Of
get
course,
there, you see that it's just like
that's
Monroe said, the woman cannot just, she wants you to keep, just give me something to do. Just give me something to help you with. I'm an helper. I'm an helpmate. I'm supposed to help you to balance. But if you don't have any project, then I'm just like, okay. I like
so
listening to Miles Monroe. It's like the goal of the marriage counselor that you need.
a woman that knows this thing about herself, a man cannot be talking to you. When you go out with a guy, he should be the one fidgeting. He should be the one, oh my God, I hope
To
she
be
will
able to,
accept me.
yeah.
It should be
No,
the
it's
one
not.
that
It's not. It's not there yet.
not somebody will come and say, let me go and pay your bride price. And you'll be jumping. Ooh, somebody's going to be
Coming to pay my reference.
by that shower. This one, you know. Oh my God, sis. We need a serious about.
But you see, sis, that's like the main goal. Women to women, that's like the main. Some girls actually to them. That's like the main one man, and then bridal shower and all these things. That's for them is and is an achievement, and it's so sad because of the fact that it's just you're just too vulnerable. You're already making yourself an abuse victim. You're already a victim even before you go into marriage. Because whatever
Yeah.
you go and meet there, you're not really focused on who this person is and how it is able to, what his vision is, and to see if your vision aligns. And because, and that's so dangerous because that kind of marriage someone was saying to me once that some women will end up with cancer, they will end up with sickness because
Yes.
we are, a woman is not supposed to bottle things in. She's supposed to carry, she's supposed to express, she's supposed to be constantly, and when she's constantly being, and she just doesn't, she will just feel so displaced in her own home because she doesn't really, she's just like a tenant living in, just waiting, and that's not what marriage is. And that destroys, for me. Do you know that before I met Dr. Success, like, I'd been through like different, I've been looking at different online, marriage advice and stuff. But all the marriage advice I saw online, there was one point that I just was so scared of marriage. I was like, no, I'm not getting married, because if this is what I have to come to in marriage, if I have a problem, if those are the people that will advise me, then I might as well just remain single for the rest of my life. Because this is scary. There's like, the world is against you. Anything happens in any marriage, they start thinking it is the woman's fault. It is that woman.
Sis,
It is that.
that place that you were, where you said, I don't think I will ever marry. I think no woman should think about marriage until they get there.
Not today. To realize that
Every must come to a place where you say there's no need for me to marry.
there's no
Because
need.
that's that you are
Because you're
self-sufficient.
self-sufficient. But then
If
again,
you know, I will never marry. In fact,
you never exactly. But then again, you understand. Then you know the reasons.
yes, and then you mean it to yourself that you are sure that you are self-sufficient and you are a full and complete entity.
Whew.
So you will never marry because you don't need marriage. There is not a need for you.
Hmm.
So when a man now comes and somehow, okay, let me even try. Let me even try to see if I can partner with this person. That should be the
Oh,
attitude.
nah. Look
You
at
should
what
never.
Sister Ufoma said, that we just need to know our worth as women. She said we need to build a strong identity before saying yes to a man. A woman is a powerhouse when she knows herself. You're a
Yes, that's correct. In fact, that powerhouse is just the word.
powerhouse. Just ended it for me too. It's like, bam. That's it.
Thank you. That's the word. That's
That's
the
just
word.
the word. You're
They don't like to empower themselves. They will,
exactly.
who will I empower? Who will I?
You will not empower, and you're empower. You have to understand that when a man is coming, wants to come and connect to your powerhouse, he's looking for a connection, like looking for, you are a source of don't be looking at how to, and then you just become a liability.
Even the men that are enlightened, the men that know the worth of a woman. A
Mm,
lot of men,
yeah.
in as much as ignorant one that wants to shut you down, the ones that have their eyes open, they have targets when they are going for a woman. They are coming straight for your intelligence.
Intelligent.
They are, they are coming straight for your power because they want
Hmm.
to take some. They want to enjoy,
They want to come and connect.
come and collect. They want to come and share your energy. They want to share your intelligence. They are looking for people to think them because just like Adam, a
Hmm.
lot of those God has looked at them and say, "Come, you cannot function on your own, so I will bring for you a helper." So those men that understand that they are not going for the real powerhouses. But when you as a woman, you recognize yourself as a powerhouse, the kind of men that will be coming to you, the people that can stand your energy,
Hmm.
to be able to stand your energy, and when you project it, they know exactly what to do with it. They are not seeing you as something that they have to lead, somebody they have to compete with. So those ones they usually have a target. They cannot marry just about anybody. But most of the time, the women
Yeah.
are stuck in identifying such men.
Yeah.
The women are stuck because, okay, how can I even get, can this person really handle me?
Hmm.
So men know what they want. Most men don't
We
know what they
know,
want.
and the one of the first things that I realized, when I
Yeah.
met my husband, and I'm just saying, don't you probably watch and be like, Zed will be swelling. Is that
Yeah.
I think I said it once on DSS show, is that I am grateful to God that I didn't settle.
Yes.
That statement in itself, I didn't say it to. It's only I don't know. It's only myself that can understand it, or if any woman wants to understand it, is that you know your standard and don't compromise on your standard. And people have said that, okay, but you're supposed to understand. I'm not saying don't be understanding, but don't compromise on your standard. Trust me, there's just something about women when when you know what you're worth, when you know your values, if the vision does not align from the start, just don't compromise. Don't ever say the standard, okay, okay, anybody is a man. You can might as well marry anything, any living thing with a penis. It's not about it's not about marrying. If it's just I can marry one old man in my village too now, because that's it. Because the standard is not set. You're just a desperate soul who is afraid to be single. And those things, the sad thing is, I used to say, there was a time when I was single, and one of my friends as well, she had recently just come out of a relationship, and she was having a tough time. So we're having a discussion. I was trying to cheer her up, and there was one statement that I said to her that even motivated me self that I will never forget, and it was the fact that I said to her that, do you realize that sometimes God doesn't let us, those guys, for example, the guy that left you now, my friend, I was like, the guy that left her, I said, do you realize that guy he is, God purposely did not let him see how great you are, because there's a guy that is coming. And somebody is coming that God has prepared for you, or there's just something. You are amazing, and somebody will come and will appreciate that. Sometimes we women, we just like, okay, but I'm just a woman, or culture expects me, or okay, people tell me my time is ticking, or something, and then we just settle. And that's a problem, because we have to understand that if the man is not an identity, if it's not, there's no way he's going to treat you like an identity. There's no way he's going to value your worth, because he doesn't even know his worth. He doesn't even know who he is, and that's the problem. This is what women need to begin to understand: that women need to wait. I don't know if that they need to wake up, but they need to become aware of the fact that this is what a woman is, and this is what a man is. But I feel like the moment women wake up to the reality of how amazing they are, then it will help our men as well to actually sit up. I read an article yesterday that said, it says that, says that that there's a marriage is getting, the rate of marriage is reducing in America, because the level of men with employment is dropping, or something. The men that, less employment rate for men, so marriage is reducing, because I'm thinking that Marriage is reducing because I don't understand that those statements itself is just wrong. And for me, it just makes me understand that there's a problem that is going on in our generation right now. And a lot of people will come to the reality of that truth very, very soon, because they're going to start realizing that women are really, we're firing up because we're waking up to how amazing we are. And, except men understand that women are waking up to that, and then people start putting things in place to ensure that when a man gets married to a woman that understands her value, then they are able to make that marriage work. Because if a woman marries a man and the woman knows her worth, there's no way that marriage will eventually work out. Something will happen. And we don't want to see divorce rate. We don't want to see, but these things will happen. And that's why it's very important to start telling women that you need to know your worth before you even think of marriage. That's why I like that book that DSA wrote. As a woman, before you even start thinking of marriage.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sis. I think so Victoria is I think we are getting to the end of the show. I think we're getting to the end of the broadcast. Right, so Victoria, please, any last words for us? Anything that you want to tell the people to go and find in the book before we start closing off?
Well, so what I want to say, I think I've said this in that recommendation, but I'll repeat myself. I think that book, Say No to Bride Price, is a book not just for women. Every man must read that book. Parents have to read this book. Our eyes have to really open, because bride price is a problem. It's a huge crisis.
Yeah.
It's something that is born out of a huge mountain of ignorance. And the intent of bride price, I don't know what the original intent is of the people that created that culture. But all I can say for now is that we are just born into it, and then we are thinking that it makes a woman to be worth more, but it's only devaluing the woman. So if you have the mindset that my daughter is valuable, so that's why the man has to pay a bride price. You have to
Then
think
why
that we
don't
have
we
to
pay bride price for men as well?
exact opposite. You are doing the exact opposite. You are making your daughter to become worthless by collecting some change and collecting some yams and perishables. you know, for her, for the man to come and take her from you. So, and the book also goes beyond bride price. It goes into, the issues women are facing, it even comes down to even the Bible and the biblical philosophy of bride price. One of the last chapters in the book was about how Paul, what he thought about women, because a lot of people, they don't go and quote Ephesians something and say, woman submit, but they are not really understanding Paul. So you can read that book to help you to broaden your spec. So forget about what the title is saying. Forget that it's challenging your ego. You have to forget that it's challenging everything you think you know. You have to bring yourself humble to go and read that book and get the knowledge, the priceless knowledge that Elizabeth has shared.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah. Sister Victoria, you're just perfect. Thank you so much for today. I just really appreciate your input and your, on the book. I'm going to let you go now. I know you're a busy woman. Thank you so much. And I'm just going to wrap up. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining us on the live show. I look forward to other shows together. We need to do more of this. Please take care of yourself and have a nice evening.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Please just we're so grateful that Victoria was able to join us on the show today. I'm so grateful that we had that. She's just a blessing, as I always say, like each and every one of you are blessings. Everyone that's been here. I just want to read a few comments before I close. Sister Ronke wrote, she wrote that they have damaged 98% of women's mind through this method of saying that the man is the master of the house, and they didn't let women know that they also are a man that can live independently without any master calling husband. They need to let Okay, so I think she's just trying to say that women need to become more informed of their worth. It is just going to reiterate again what Victoria just said last, which is the fact that if we are saying that bride price is what gives the woman a sense of value, makes her valuable in marriage, then why is it that we don't do it for men as well? If we're honestly being honest to ourselves, why is it that we don't collect groom price? Why is there no groom value? I mean, is it only the girl's family that put money on her, to raise her? And let's be honest, the truth is bride price does not give any sense of value and does not mean anything valuable to a woman. All it does is just an exchange of, let us just break it down. Our culture is that, yeah, we raised that, and so you want to come and marry her, come and bring the money for the fact that we are losing a valuable asset in our home. She used to be the one taking care of her, taking care of her father, taking care of her mother. Now, if you take her away to your house, she's going to be doing the cooking, cleaning, she's doing all the necessary duties. So please pay us. You have to understand that she's a woman. You're taking, some will even say you're taking her virginity, you're taking this, you're taking that. So pay for her. And though those things are stupid, because what bride price does is it just puts the woman in harm's way. It puts her in so much, she exposes us to a world of danger in her marriage. Some abuses will come directly from her husband, and some will not even come from her husband at all. Some will come from her family members. Some will come from his family members. For example, you'll see they will walk into the house at any point and they'll be like, okay, I said to people that, I think I mentioned in this book as well, that sometimes we think that what's it called? The problem that that a woman is facing in marriage that has to do with in-laws is because of, no, it started on the day they paid the bride price. That was the day that was initiated. The day that the day that they felt that we have paid for her. She now belongs to us. That day, that is the day that her suffering started. It just became obviously now she's now living what they call our house. She's now living their house, in their space, in their environment. They have adopted her. So now they can now treat her however way they wish. It's a very, very sad thing. Obviously, maybe bride price wouldn't be such an issue if there was no fake figures or factor or figures or results from people that have been in abusive marriages. Maybe it wouldn't be such a problem. Maybe we wouldn't even talk about it at all as an issue. But but the truth is that there are women who have shared their stories, and there are women that not even in marriage, that are just about to get married, and they have shared their stories with us, and they've told about the fact that what happened to them, and the fact that the guy already begins to see them as a product, as something that belongs to him, as the idea that a husband and a wife will fight, and the next thing is going to call her father, is going to report her, call her family members and report her to his family members and say she's disrespectful to me. All of those things in itself is just one of those things that makes you start understanding that there's something wrong with the culture of bride price. It makes you question the fact that, okay, you're a couple, you're a husband, you're his wife, and you know what, she's she's done something to wrong you, and you feel the need to come and involve a third party in your marriage. I mean, this is a massive disrespect, and it's a massive blow on your wife as well. Is the fact that, I mean, there are times that third parties can be very good. I even advise couples to get counseling. We always have counseling, but not church. Get counseling from a professional constantly, even if it's, register for it. It's good. I always encourage it, and it's good for couples, whether you are having problems or not. I just feel like it's always a good place for couples to go and, unleash and offload, and it's good to have that. It'd be nice if churches did that for real, not just to manipulate the woman. But yes, these things are good, but not to just go and report at a family member. She's not doing this. Can you believe? And then this family members to call the wife. They don't even want to hear what the guy has done. Some of them will just be like, "You should need to be a better wife." Is your head though? Is your head? But those things are wrong. Like Mrs. Ronke just pointed out that the woman have been our mindset have been damaged. We have been told for too long, okay, is your head, is your head, is your head. But what happened, I already talked about this topic when I talked about the value of a woman, the show on the value of a woman, where I talked about what God actually meant when he said that I will make for a man a helpmate. And a helpmeet. And what the helpmeet actually means is somebody of equal strength, which actually translates in the Hebrewish word to a word called the Eza Kenegdo, which means somebody of an equal strength. And that's the same word that God used to refer to himself in the Bible and the armies of God. And God referred to a woman as an Eza Kenegdo and said, I will create for the man an Eza Kenegdo, which means somebody that will, for example, if this man wants to lift a table, somebody that is strong enough to carry the table with him. And when God created that, obviously, the fall of man happened. We fell into sin. God said to a woman, your head has been taken away. You will no longer have a head. The man will be your head. And then once that happened and all of those things happened, then Jesus came and redeemed and finished his sacrifice himself in atonement for our sins. And when all of those things finished, all of those curses have been taken away. The woman now has her own head. There's no head. So it is not okay for people to go around saying to a woman, your husband is your head, because the woman's husband is not a head. The woman's covering is God, is now Christ, because we have now all been bought as sons. And that is why you see where Jesus goes and preaches to a woman, the Samaritan, by the well. And there was a time when Jesus was speaking to the Samaritan lady, and God said to her that a time will come when we'll no longer go to the hills. We'll come directly straight to the Father, because we no longer need a covering. Women were not allowed to do a lot of things back then in church. We were not allowed to do anything. And so for him to not even be speaking to a Jewish woman, he was speaking to a Samaritan woman at that time. That was Jesus saying that we have all been bought. And Apostle Paul also emphasized that in the book of Galatians, chapter 3, when he talks about the fact that there's no longer male nor female, Jew nor Gentiles, in the presence of God. And that is the way we need to begin to see, is that we are all one flesh, and we must understand what works for us all as one on this body, on this earth, and respect each other enough to be able to say, okay, this is a woman. This is who a woman is. When a woman is saying things like, I've constantly said to people, a feminist is saying I want to be seen as equal. She doesn't mean that I'm saying that I have the same level of measure of muscle or something. No, this is all misconceptions. Whatever we want to know, let us read up about it and just find out about it. And it will help us. It will go a very, very long way to assist us, in our lives. Thank you so much, for much. She said the title of Dr. Sunday's book is Woman Forget About Marriage and Build Your Life. Go and get a book. That's by Pastor Sunday Delaja. And he said that, and he wrote a book about that to help women understand that forget about marriage. I mean, to be honest, I remember when I was like 22, 23, 24, finishing uni and after my master's, I was like, I can't marriage. But then I realized that a lot of those times I wanted to marry was because of, okay, you finish uni. That is the pattern of life. Life tells us you go to school, you finish, you graduate, you do your this, and then you get married. And that is what I was expecting that my life would just jump to. But now I think back at all those times, and I'm just like, okay, you know what? If I had got married at that time, I would have really, really been out of that marriage right now. I'm so grateful to God that I didn't. And sometimes it takes a lot of life experience. As a woman, we need to understand that, there's a lot more beyond the walls of school. Like DSA always says, actually learning, the real life learning actually begins beyond the walls of the classroom. School is there to give you principle, to teach you, but then you need to now start reading and prepare for the exam once you graduate, because that was just classroom. But the real life is, and then it's just like that. And then once we come to the understanding of who am I, then once we're able to answer that question, who am I, then we can start thinking about, okay, so there's a human being somewhere that will call me fancy, and your head to swell. And that's the way it's supposed to be, in Faust language. It's supposed to be a stage, every stage of every season of our life. We're all still learning, we're all still growing. And I really do wish everybody would grab a copy of this book and come and do a review with me. Just contact me so we can review the book, and you can tell me what you learned about the book. Like I said, Sister Victoria's comment is in the book as well. What she wrote for the book is here. You can read it. My husband also wrote something in the book, recommendation for you guys. Mr. Balogun, Mr. Israel Balogun also wrote something. DSA's what's it called, is also here. This forward is also in the book. So many things that you guys are looking forward to in the book. And I look forward to, it's just a start to many great things. And I hope you buy it, and I hope you help us to support the Treasure Project, which we're hoping to start soon, and be more proactive on the fields. But yes, and this is the truth for me. This is, like, I'm never afraid now. There's time in my life that I'm always, the perfect girl. What did they say? They call it the wife material. But then I've come to realize in this life that you have to become more than a wife material or a womb, or you have to become a human being material. You have to be a life material. You have to be humanitarian. You have to be humanity. You have to think of the truth before you think of your culture. Cultures are important, but they are not the things that set the guidelines for our human life. The things that governs our lives, just like Jesus said to when he was condemned by the Pharisees, when the Pharisees came and said to him that, why are your disciples picking, it's Sunday, why are they picking things up and hitting on the, it's Sunday, they should be obeying the principles. And Jesus said to him that, do you realize that the law was made for man, not man for the law? So that means that whatever is, you can undo. It's a choice. You can put things in place and then change it. You can choose that today is Sabbath, and you can choose that tomorrow is Sabbath. You can choose next month to Sabbath. You can decide that Sabbath once a month. You can decide whatever you want. The most important thing is that you have a day of rest. And that's what Jesus was trying to say to them. And is just understanding that sometimes we have to just change and, rethink. And not for our own sake. Sometimes it's just for the sake of, like I always say, that our great-grandchildren will not remember us. So I can't remember my great-grandfather's name. So what is the point carrying on the culture that they practice? We don't even remember their names. We're not saying, okay, because their culture. I can't even imagine a bigger bondage than that. A bigger, slavery that a human being can put themselves into, is to say, okay, because it is our culture. For me, I can't understand. I can't comprehend. It's not logical, because in this world it doesn't function. We're in a thing, in just like this ride of time. And if you're not careful, you'll be left behind. You'll be in 1900, and people will be in like 2000 and 2100. You will be looking at, and you'll be far behind, because you're not moving with time. You're not reassessing your systems and reassessing your ways of life. And yes, well, I really hope that the show today has encouraged each and every one of us, and we can go away and we can think about those cultures that we've questioned sometimes, because it's okay to question things. Question everything. You must begin to question everything. And I encourage everyone to go and watch that book video come Sunday. You'll love it. Yeah, well, thank you so much, everyone who's been here today. Star Ufama, you're just amazing. Amazing, Star Ufama. Thank you so much, Star Runke. You're a blessing. Thank you so much, Shevin. Thank you so much, Dalisa. Who else is here? I'm grateful to everyone who's been on, Mr. Bumi, everyone who's watched, who has joined us, Mr. Emmanuel, Mr. Topsy, everyone who has been on the show today. I'm sorry I couldn't read all the comments that you all dropped, but I want you to understand that we appreciate you. Yeah, so I think I just want to close with this. Read what is the just from I wrote here, and it was that I can't find it again. Something that if women themselves became knowledgeable about their worth, then the women must, obviously, like, if we become aware of you, then we'll set ourselves free. We'll be liberated, basically. Nothing is holding us down, The only thing holding us down is ourselves. So thank you so much, and enjoy your evening, and remain the blessing that you are. I am so grateful. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you, and remain blessed.